Hi everybody, it's Geordie from Geordie Colours. Thank you so much for joining me. I am here with the end of 2023 colouring tag. I was tagged by Dana's Colouring Obsession, and I thought I'd better get this video done as we are already nearly at the end of January. I can't believe it. So I really need to do this before February rolls around. So I thought I would try and do a little bit of colouring while I'm answering the questions. Bear with me, I'm still a little bit unsure about colouring on camera, but I am working in Rita Berman's Meine Reise Durch Asien, and I am doing this page, which is the dragon, and I thought it was appropriate because Chinese New Year is coming up. I believe it falls on around the 10th of February this year, and it's Year of the Dragon, which is cool because I am also a dragon. And so I thought this would be a fun one to do. So I started with the background, which I'm not loving. I really need to practice working on my backgrounds. I used Inktense pencils for my background, and then I used some Sakura Stardust for my fireworks there, which I do kind of like because they're not like in your face, you can't see them all the time, but as you move them around in the light, they kind of shine and pop, and I do kind of like that. But my background's a bit patchy, I'm not loving it, but yeah, I just really need to work on backgrounds. But I'm trying. So I'm on to working on my dragon. I'm using my Prismacolor pencils. I've decided to go with a red dragon. I just felt that that was appropriate. Red is a color of luck in China, and dragons are also lucky animals in China. So I figured that was a good combination. So I'm kind of not sure where I'm going to go from here. I'm going to see what I can come up with, and I'll probably just try and work on his legs and things as I'm chatting to you, and yeah, see where we go. So I'm using my Prismacolor pencils. I'll tell you the color combinations that I'm using at the moment. So I've got Tuscan Red, I have Crimson Lake, I have Crimson Red, I have Permanent Red, and Carmine Red. So this was actually a color combination that my Colourful Country Life came up with, and I'm borrowing it for my red dragon. Okay, so I'm going to try and colour and talk. I don't know how successful I will be. I will do my best, but bear with me. Okay, so the first question is, how many pages did you colour in 2023? I have no idea. I'm gonna have to go and check. I'll be right back. Okay, so that was a great start, wasn't it? So I should have done a little bit of prep for that, really. But the first question then was, how many pages did you colour in 2023? I did around 70 pages, which isn't a huge amount, but this was my kind of first year getting into adult colouring. So I was kind of still finding my feet a little bit and figuring out where I wanted to go, looking at new artists and all that sort of stuff. So it was a bit of an experiment for me this past year. I had my eyes opened a lot to the world of adult colouring. I had dabbled in colouring before, but I hadn't really done a huge amount. So for me, this past year has been a huge learning curve, and picking out new techniques, as I say, lots of new artists to discover and enjoy, and just lots of stuff like that. So I didn't really start getting properly into it until towards the end of last year, I guess. I kind of dabbled my feet in it for a little bit, and then when I felt more confident, I kind of dove in the deep end, really. So yeah, around 70 pages for the entire year, which isn't a huge amount, I know, compared to a lot of other people who managed to get probably double that done in a year. Some people may even do a lot more, but that's good for me. I was happy with that. The next question then is, which month in 2023 did you colour the most pages and how many pages was it? So August was the month that I did the most pages, and I presume that's probably because I was on a holiday and had a little bit more time to relax and enjoy my colouring. So in August I managed to do 11 pages, which was quite good for me, I thought. So yeah, August was the most. Next question then is, how many colouring books did you add to your collection in 2023? Well, the answer to that is probably quite embarrassing because there were a lot. I think the easiest thing to say is tell you the colouring books I already had prior to 2023, and then like if you wanted to go and check out my entire colouring book collection video, I've just completed that. It's 3 parts. It's fair to say I added quite a number of books to my collection this past year as I kind of really got into the colouring world. So the books I owned already, I had most of the Joanna Basford books, apart from I didn't have Worlds of Wonder or Rooms of Wonder. So those were both books that I added this last year to my collection. So I had all of those. I had Kirby Roseanne's, I want to say, Animorphia and Imagimorphia. So I had those 2 books. And I had Rita Berman's Der Welt under der Lupe zu Land, so the Land Under the Microscope. So those were the books that I had already. Everything else is pretty much new this past year. So you can see I now have well over 100 books. So I have quite the collection now. So yeah, it's growing quite substantially, it's fair to say. And then number 4 is, how many untouched colouring books did you colour in 2023? So again, the number would be quite large with that because I kind of really grew my collection and tried to colour most of the ones that I got. I still have a few uncoloured books. Again, I'll leave a link up to the first of my colouring book collection videos if you wanted to go and check that out, and you can see all of the books that I have, all the ones that are uncoloured. There are still far too many uncoloured books, I have to admit, but I did manage to colour in quite a large number of books, considering really that it was like new to me and I didn't really get into it until the second half of last year. Okay, so question number 5. What are some of your favourite pages you coloured in 2023? So let me put these aside because I have pulled these out for you. So I was slightly prepared. So one of the pages that I really loved, got it around the wrong way, is this guy. So this was a free page that was sent to me, and I coloured it with Copic markers for the most part, and then added a bit of pencil over the top. I just really like this. I think I feel very comfortable using my Copic markers, so I have a good feel for them. I can use them quite effectively and get some nice shading and that sort of thing, because I've used them for a long time in my card making and paper crafting. So I have a real understanding of how they work, I suppose. So this page I thought worked really, really well. I really liked the colour palette. I liked the cooler tones of the owl against the warmer tones of the background. It made the owl kind of pop. And yeah, I was pretty happy with that one. So that's one of the first pages. The next one is from Lulu Mayo's A Million Magical Creatures, and the page that I was happy with was this one. So this was one that I did with my Faber-Castell Albrecht Dürer pencils, which I activated with water. Then I used my Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils in the same colours to add some depth and shading, and I just really liked the colour palette. I really liked the way it all gelled together. They're all similar tones, but it all kind of worked. And it was a fun page to do. So that was one of my favorites. The other one, I've got two in Mythomorphia actually, and I was pleased with these for various reasons. This one I really liked because it was my first time really trying Inktense in a background, and I actually think the background turned out not too bad. I think the bubbles kind of mask a lot of the stuff that I don't want to be seen. But yeah, I used Inktense for all of the background. I think I used it for pretty much everything, to base pretty much everything, and then coloured over with pencil. So this page was a lot of fun in terms of experimentation and trying new things. And I'm pretty happy with the result of this one. And then the other one is this one, which again was an experimental page for me because it was my first time using Neocolor 2s, and I really loved how this background turned out. I love that kind of galaxy look that it had, and yeah, overall pretty pleased with this page. And as I say, it was, for me, it was about learning how to use new product, new mediums, and yeah, coming up with something that turned out pretty good. And the other page that I was really happy with, it was actually two pages really, is in Alien Worlds, also by Kirby Rosannes, and it was these two pages. And the reason being was I got this book for my birthday. My daughter bought it for me, and I had been eyeing it up, and I was in two minds. I wasn't sure. It wasn't really my cup of tea, if I'm completely honest. But I was contacted by Katie from The Colouring Angel, who asked me to do a buddy colour with her on this page. And I was like, yeah, okay, I need to dive in and just do something. I was very intimidated about doing stuff in this book. And did this page, and then she said, hey, I started the other page as well if you want to do that one. And I was like, well, I was going to kind of do them similar colors, so yeah, why not? So I ended up doing two pages in this book, and I was really pleased with that because I had really kind of felt like I was going to struggle in this book, and in the end I actually really enjoyed it, and it was a lot of fun. And I felt very proud of myself for completing two pages. I've never done a double page spread, so this was kind of like the closest I'd got to for two pages. Prior to this, I have now done another page another double page spread in this book, which I'll show in my January completed pages. But it was a great kind of learning curve for me, that I could do two pages, that I could do two quite detailed pages and not get so intimidated. So for me, that was a big achievement and a big learning curve, which is why I like this one, and it's up there with my favorites. So that's yeah, just a few of the favorites that I had from this past year. Okay, next question. Did you complete any colouring books in 2023? If so, how many and which books? The answer to that is no, it didn't come close. There was one book that I managed to get a few pages done in, which is the Enchanted Faces pocket-sized edition by Hannah Lynn. That is a book that I have done I've currently done about 15, maybe not quite 15, maybe about 13, 14 pages in. And so that is a book that I'm working my way through, but there's 50 pages in it, so I'm nowhere near finishing it. But that's the closest I've got to a completed book. I am nowhere near a completed book in anything else. So yeah, no, is the short answer to that one. Okay, next question. Question number 7. Do you have any colouring regrets in 2023? No, I don't have any colouring regrets. I have made mistakes, don't get me wrong. I have made plenty of mistakes, but it's been a huge learning curve, and I've really kind of appreciate that, because you know, if you don't learn, you don't grow. So yeah, I don't have any regrets. I do feel like there are things that I could have done better. There are things like this background, for example. It's not the best. I'm not overly happy with it, but I tried. And for me, it's about learning and growing and seeing that improvement. And I am seeing improvement in my coloring. I am getting more confident with it. I'm getting to understand mediums that I use a little bit better. So for me, no regrets, just learning, you know. So that might sound a bit corny, but yeah, I definitely don't have any regrets. I enjoy it. I enjoy what I do. As I say, there are things that I feel I could definitely do better. There are things I look at and go, oh, I really wish I'd done that differently, or, you know, like not differently, but just kind of managed to do it better than I had done it. But I think, like with anything, it's like you know, you've got to kind of experiment and try out things to figure out what works for you and what doesn't. And so no regrets as such. Okay, next question is what was your most used medium in 2023? Goodness. I guess pencils would be my most used. I couldn't tell you which pencils because I use a variety of pencils. And again, for me, that's about like learning and figuring out what I like and what I don't like, and what works best for the way that I color. So colored pencils definitely the most used medium, but then within that there would be a variety of different kinds of pencils that I've used. So yeah, pencils. Short answer. What coloring book did you color the most pages in 2023? Okay, so we've already kind of talked about that a little bit, which was my Hannah Lynn Enchanted Faces pocket-sized edition book, simply because I for a number of reasons with that book, but it's for me it's a really kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, relaxing, easy color, and I can complete a page in a short period of time. I can use my alcohol markers on it, which kind of makes the page go a little bit quicker. And not that speed is an issue, but it kind of adds to a sense of achievement if you can get a page completed. You know, sometimes you might not have very much time to do stuff, so if you can get a page completed, you can feel a little bit accomplished, like you've achieved something for the day. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but yeah, for that reason that book has had the most kind of pages done in it, and I just really like it as well because I can be a little bit experimental. I'm not the best with skin and hair, that is something that I really do need to improve on and work on, but that book gives me an opportunity to kind of play around with that sort of stuff as well. So I can experiment, and I don't have to be realistic. It can be, let me go and get the book so I can show you what I mean. Okay, so here's the book. It's Enchanted Faces, Mermaids, Fairies and Fantasy pocket-sized colouring book by Hannah Lynn. And so I am working my way through from front to back with this book. But what I mean is, you know, I can go a little bit crazy with hair colours. So I've got green hair, I've got pink, I've got rainbow, I've kind of got a purpley colour, teal, purple again, you know, kind of orangey yellow. It doesn't have to be realistic. It can be a bit of fun. I mean, not that it's not realistic because people have all sorts of coloured hair, but I can have a little bit of fun with it. I can experiment with it. I can try different skin colours. I do need to kind of try and work on that a little bit more, but like for this one, I've done blue skin. So yeah, it's just a bit of fun, and like I say, they're nice small pages, so I kind of feel like I'm achieving something if I can sit down and get this done. And it can take me, you know, maybe 90 minutes to 2 hours to get a page done in this book, which isn't long. I mean, some people might get them done a lot quicker, but for me that's quite quick. So it's a nice achievement. So yeah, that's that question. Next one. Did you try any new colouring techniques in 2023? And if so, which ones? Goodness, loads. I tried tons of new colouring techniques. I tried watercolour techniques, so with pencils, with my Neo colours. I even tried it with actual watercolour paints, which I used in my Joanna Basford World of Flowers book, and didn't really love the result, but yeah, it was, again, learning experiment and learning new things. So yeah, tons and tons and tons of new techniques I tried. I tried lots of different pencils. I tried everything. I tried using distress inks and distress oxide inks in my books. Pencils, gel pens. Yeah, so this last year has been a huge learning experience and curve for me, because it's really my first proper year of adult colouring. As I say, I've dabbled in it in the past, but this is my kind of first year really sticking with it and really enjoying it, and yeah, trying new things. So yeah. Let's see, next one. Number 11. What are your top 5 colouring books for 2023? Goodness. I don't know if I can choose just 5. Top 5 for 2023. I would have to say my Rita Berman books are definitely up there. I love Rita Berman's books. Any of her books. I know that's a bit of a cop-out, but any of her books are my favourite. So I love this one that I'm working in, Meine Reise Durch Asien. I love all the travel books. Sorry for bumping my camera. Meine Reise Durch Asien, Meine Reise Durch Africa, and Europa. All of those I absolutely love. I have just got my hands on her season books, which I'm enjoying. My old favourite is the Land Under the Microscope. Die Welt Under the Lupe Zuland is one of my favourite books ever. So definitely any Rita Berman books would be in my top 5. Others, I've had a newfound appreciation for Kirby Razan's. I remember when I first bought his books, Animorphia and Imagimorphia, I think it was, way back probably in like 2016, 2017, something like that. And kind of looking at them and feeling completely overwhelmed and not really like thinking that I could actually do a page in there. So I've definitely had a newfound love for him and his books. Again, any of them, it's quite hard to choose, although I think one of my favorites at the moment is Mythomorphia. I love that book. I can just flick through that book and just look at it, and it makes me happy. And so I really love it. Who else? What other books? Oh goodness, too many to think of. Joanna Basford. I do love Joanna Basford, although I haven't done a great deal on her books this year at all, or this past year, I should say. I am hoping to rectify that this year. I would definitely like to do more in her books. I have just completed a couple of long-standing whips in World of Flowers, which is probably one of my favorites of hers. I do love that book. So yeah, any Joanna Basford books. Again, I'm not being very specific, am I? Who else? Mythomorphia books. Sorry, not Mythomorphia. Mythographic books. Enchanted Earth would have to be up there as one of my favorites, although I don't think I've done any pages in Enchanted Earth. It is Enchanted Earth. And Melpomene Chattopadhyay is one artist that I discovered this year and have a lot of love for. Love her artwork, and her books are just gorgeous. I love all of them, I really do. The Nature's Mandalas was the one book I was a little bit unsure of whether I was going to enjoy, but was pleasantly surprised when I got it. So definitely all three of her books, Nature Mandalas, Circle of Life, and I want to say Enchanted Earth as well. Is that another one called Enchanted Earth, or am I getting confused? But anyway, all of Melpomene's books are just beautiful. Highly recommend any of those. So there you go. There's way more than 5. There's probably 5 artists, but yeah, love all of those. Okay, top 5 colouring mediums for 2023. Goodness. Definitely have found a new love for my Prismacolor pencils. As you can see, I'm using them today. I'm quite heavy-handed as a colorist, so Prismacolors are so soft. I'm kind of teaching myself to be a little bit more light-handed with them. So you can see as I'm doing this page, I'm kind of going over and doing 2 coats of pencil. So I try and lay in where I want my colors to go and then go back over with a heavier hand the second time around and try and blend everything out a little bit nicer. But it has taken me a little bit of time to learn and appreciate my Prismacolor pencils, but I do love them. I don't like that, I don't know, I seem to go through them really quickly, probably because I am heavy-handed and I press and I have to keep sharpening and that sort of thing, but they are a lovely pencil to use and they do give lovely vibrant colours. So definitely those would be up there as some of my top favourites. My Inktense pencils, as you can see from my background here, I'm still learning them, still using them. Probably haven't used them enough to really get a proper feel for them. So I would like to use them a little bit more in the coming year and get used to them a little bit better, but definitely those would be up there along with the Neocolor 2s. What else? Alcohol markers, because I do use them quite a lot in some of my books. Obviously not books like this, which are double-sided, but single-sided books I use my alcohol markers quite a bit, and I do love my alcohol markers. Like I say, I feel quite confident with using them because I have used them for a long time in my card making and paper crafting, so I have a good feel for them, kind of know what works and what doesn't. So they're really fun. And then I guess the last thing would be gel pens. Yeah, I really love gel pens. So like I've used here, my Sakura Stardust, which I've used on my fireworks. I don't know if you can see that there. The Sparkle Pop pens as well. Just love those. They're amazing. So yeah, those would be my favorite mediums at the moment. Definitely want to experiment with a few more. I would love to get some of the Distress pencils, Distress Oxide pencils by Tim, not Distress Oxide, just Distress pencils, I think they are, by Tim Holtz for Ranger. I'd like to get my hands on some of those to try out. Yeah. Okay, number 13. Oh, this is kind of going back to the same one I just answered about the top 5 colouring books, but what illustrator or illustrators would you recommend to new colourists or any colourists? Okay, for new colourists, I would highly recommend Rita Berman for several reasons. Number one, her books are a little bit smaller, so they feel a bit more manageable. She's got a huge variety of artwork in her books. So she's got animals, she's got people, she's got landscapes. She's got like pattern type pages. So there really is something to appeal to everybody. I really appreciate that with her books. Sorry, I'm just going to grab some water because my throat's a little dry. Sorry, excuse me. I'm getting a little bit of a cold, I think. This start of this year has been a nightmare for colds, and so it just seems to go around. I've got 3 children, so we just seem to be kind of passing it around to each other over and over again, which is an absolute nightmare. But anyway, getting back to the question, yeah, so Rita Berman is definitely an artist that I would highly recommend to a new colorist. As I say, the size of her books is lovely. You don't have to feel like it's going to take days and days and days to do a page. The variety of artwork in her books is beautiful, and you could literally choose any of her books. I do, as I say, have a very soft spot for Die Welt unter der Lupe zu Land, which was the very first Rita Berman book that I bought, and I did buy it many years ago and absolutely fell in love with it back then. Yeah, one of my favorites. But I do love Rita Berman. What else would I suggest for a new colorist? I don't know, like I would honestly say whatever works for you, whatever appeals to you. If you see something that you like the look of, you like the look of a certain artist and what they can produce, go for it. Because, you know, as I keep trying to tell myself, at the end of the day, it is just paper. And you know, in the scheme of things, I mean, some colouring books are more expensive than others, but in the scheme of things, it's not like a huge, massive investment. I think that's part of his claw down there as well that I kind of missed. So it's not like, you know, you're spending hundreds of dollars on something. If you make a mess on a page, it's no big deal. It's a learning curve. It's an experience. It's hopefully bringing you enjoyment anyway. And I say this as somebody who probably doesn't practice what she preaches, because I often feel very intimidated about colouring. Sorry, excuse me, there's a plane going overhead. Yeah, I often feel quite intimidated about colouring in certain books, thinking, oh, I'm going to mess it up. I don't want to do that. So yeah, do as I say, not as I do. But yeah, definitely just whatever appeals. If you find an artist that you like, you know, I've discovered so many new artists this year. There's such a plethora of very talented people out there who produce beautiful pages and in so many different styles. And it's kind of exciting, and probably why I have so many colouring books. Because I just get excited by the possibilities. I love looking at them and flipping through them, spending time imagining how I'm going to colour things. 9 times out of 10, what I think of in my head doesn't quite translate to the page, but that's okay. You know, it's about trying things out and having a bit of fun and enjoying it. And as long as you are doing all of those things, then, you know, it's a win. So just find whatever kind of appeals to you and works for you. Okay, question number 14, only 2 left, so I might get his legs done on camera. And that will be it. Question number 14 is, did you find any new colouring YouTube channels in 2023, and if so, which ones? Goodness, again, because this was kind of like my first year of really getting into colouring, I discovered so many new channels. I have to give a huge shout out to the wonderful Erica at Elm Colours, who was kind of like the very first one that I discovered. Erica started following me on my paper crafting channel, and she left a comment on one of my videos. And so, being the curious person I am, I decided to go and check out her channel and see what it was she did. And it was just blown away and kind of fell down the rabbit hole of adult coloring, and kind of she really inspired me to kind of pick up my colouring books again and dive into them, and she really opened my eyes to the possibility of using mixed media on my pages, which sounds really stupid now, but for me before, colouring books had always just kind of been something that you used colouring pencils in. You didn't use like paint or watercolors or anything like that. I don't know why I thought like that, but I did. So she really opened my eyes. So Erica from Elm Colours, huge thank you. Then obviously my Colourful Country Life I discovered this year. Amazing, beautiful pages, and lots of colour alongs to follow, which is awesome if you're kind of a bit nervous about starting a page like I sometimes am. It's nice to just follow somebody along. And you have an idea of how your page is going to end up looking. So that was helpful. And then, of course, just, there's the whole world of colouring. The Norwegian Colorist, Bubble of Colouring, Dana's Colouring Obsession, the Colouring Angel. It's kind of been nice to see like the Colouring Angel and Dana's Colouring Obsession. They're all fairly new to it like me. So we kind of went on this journey together, which was fun. I feel like I'm missing loads. Disney Meg's colouring. I honestly, the list is endless. There's so many, and you can just kind of, as I say, dive into a bit of a rabbit hole of, watching YouTube videos of colourists. But yeah, those have been my kind of favourites this year that I can think of off the top of my head. There are bound to be loads more. Okay, last question. What are some of your colouring goals for 2024? I haven't really set any specific goals. I would like to do a little bit more of this sort of thing on camera, and try and be a little braver in terms of my colouring in that respect, trying new techniques, kind of pushing myself to do things outside my comfort zone, again, just so that I can learn and grow and improve. Definitely always a goal is to improve and to get better, and to develop my skills and techniques. So yeah, don't really have any specific goals in terms of like how many pages I want to do or books I want to finish or anything like that. I'm just happy to kind of keep cruising along at the moment, and as I say, learn and grow and get better with my techniques and that kind of stuff. So as long as I'm doing that, I'm feeling quite happy. So no real colouring goals, I guess. Which sounds a bit bad, but yeah, just improving, just getting better, just learning techniques and improve my, I guess one of my main goals is improving my backgrounds. There you go, that's a proper colouring goal. I would like to get better at doing backgrounds, for sure. Backgrounds and skin and hair would definitely be things that I would like to improve upon and get better at. So those are quite specific goals, aren't they? So yeah, sorry, we've got a plethora of planes flying over all of a sudden. I don't know why, but they're making lots of noise. So yeah, that's kind of what I want to improve on. Get better at backgrounds, get better at skin and hair, and just generally improve and get better as a colorist in general, I guess. And hopefully produce some nice looking pages that I'm proud of. Yeah, that would be good, wouldn't it? But just enjoy it as well. Just enjoy the process, not get too stressed about it or too hung up on, like I say, how many finished pages I've done or which colouring books I've completed the most. It's just about hopefully just enjoying it and having fun with it. Okay, so I am going to leave it there. I didn't really get much coloured on camera, but got a little bit done. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. I am going to be tagging Elm Colours, Bubble of Colouring, and the Colouring Angel. If you've already done this tag, please ignore me. And if you haven't done it but you don't have time or you don't want to do it, of course, no pressure either. There's no pressure. It's just a bit of fun. So I hope you will join in, and I'd love to see your videos. And thank you everybody for joining me today and watching me do a little bit of colouring. I know it wasn't much, but yeah, thanks everybody. Take care. Bye.